Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my video about my top 5 vehicles in War Thunder for every nation so far. And just want to begin with the American tanks. At place number 5 I have the M26, and I actually cannot tell you why exactly this tank is so good. There's nothing wrong with it, but there is nothing too spectacular with it. But every time I took it out for a ride, I had amazing results. In fact, I have nearly a 6-to-1 kill to death ratio in it. So that's one, if not the highest kill to death ratios in the game for me in tanks. So it can't be a bad tank. I always love to drive it. At place number 4 we have the Super Hellcat, because it's a Hellcat with a bigger gun. How can it be bad? I love it. Then at place number 3 I have the M8A1. That's a mini Hellcat basically. It's a rare vehicle as well, but I really enjoyed playing it. Yeah, not really nice vehicle, believe me. For that battle rating, 2.7, it kills stuff, and it's fast. It's good. At place number 2 we have actually a heavy tank. The T-32. I really like this tank. It's one of the few tanks that just can reliably go hull down, and the long reload rate doesn't matter. Strong turret armor, decent gun, that actually works, because you can take your time aiming and selecting the targets. It's just a good tank. But my all-time favorite tank in War Thunder for the Americans is, without the shadow of a doubt, the M103. This tank just is glorious. Even stock, it is a good tank. It might not be the fastest, most maneuverable, or most heavily armored tank, but the gun is just amazing. I really like it. Unlike the medium tanks, this is a very good final tank for the heavy line. So yeah, really good. Then for Germany, at place number 5, a recent addition to the game, the Dicke Max. It's good. At that battle rating, that gun with that penetration, with that damage output, it's just fantastic. And the gun depression is, as far as I know, it's the best in the game. It's really good, really good. At place 4 we have the Panzer IV F2, and the reason why I really like this tank is because it does have the first proper anti-tank gun for the German tanks, and it really felt good, being able to reliably, or more reliably, one-shotting T-34s. Despite itself being very fragile and getting one-shotted itself, very reliable, so to say, due to the ammo rack behind the driver, it is really a good tank. And I really can just recommend this tank. At tier 3, it's not just one tank, it's a line of tanks. It's the German AAA. Hands down, the German AAA is the best in the game overall, and there is no bad AAA compared to other nations. And we begin with in that line, my favorite is the Kugelblitz, because 1,200 rounds in a single belt without reload, such a high rate of fire, such a fire density, devastating 30 millimeter mine shells. I hope there are mine shells. And yeah, also the possibility to load HVAP, or even in the anti-aircraft belt, there is a single anti-air, yeah, HVAP shell, let's say armor-piercing shell, with 95 millimeters of penetration. That's awesome. You just shred everything. Everything that does not have enough armor just will die. You just facing other triple A's. I almost feel sorry for them. And it's the very same with the Ostwind at its battle rating. Oops, that's the Wirbelwind, also a good tank, but not that good compared to the Ostwind. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. It's just never-ending pounding, a lot of ammunition, great rate of fire, and yeah, the shells also do very much damage. Then we have one of my all-time favorites in the game for personal reasons, and that is the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 6-2, and it's basically a big 37 millimeter anti-aircraft cannon on a half track. How can this be bad? And it just keeps hammering. It hammers and hammers and never stops. And yeah, when you got the first shot off, you usually win engagements. There are not many tanks that you cannot kill, even from mid-range. This thing just, I love it. But the most overall trollish vehicles is something that is mostly overlooked, and it's the Gepard, or Gepard in German. And it really is strange. Just it's very fragile. It's one of the most fragile AAAs in the German line and overall, I guess. But at that battle rating, you know, that rate of fire and that penetration, I mean, and the reload, it's just fantastic. If you you know, if you're really reckless and just drive into enemies at that tier, and your top tier, you just shred them. You really shred them. When they don't see you coming, they have no chance. It's just fun. But overall, we have to go on at tier tier at rank 2 is the Panther 2, and I didn't even remember playing that much battles in it. But when I looked at the statistics, it's one of the most played tanks ever, and the reason for it is quite clear. Fantastic gun. It's a long 88. Every tank that does have a long 88 can't be bad, because you have the firepower. You have the rate of fire and the damage output and the penetration. And then this is a very fast, very mobile vehicle. And it's the first Panther, or the last Panther, that does have a good reverse gear. That's so much different. And the armor is okayish. It's a medium, you know. It's so, yeah. But there is just one tank that could possibly make it to place 1. And it's not the U100, nor the Leopard, nor the Yak Tiger, which should be in the top 5, but it is the one and only, one of my most favorite tanks in the game. It's the King Tiger with the 10.5 centimeter gun with the KWK L68. Fantastic tank. Battle efficiency wise, it might be not the most efficient tank in the game, or even in my tech trees, but just the feeling of, I mean, this APHE shell, which I exclusively use, must be one of the deadliest shells in the game. I mean, you aim at something, you pull the trigger and it dies. And it's just so satisfying. It just works for me. I love it. I played, I don't know, let's have a look. Service records. There it is. 455 battles. Won a lot of them. Died very often, but I killed 1,250 tanks. So not too shabby at all. It's a 1 to 3, 1 to 3k decay ratio. Yeah, so it can't be a bad tank with such statistics. As you can also see, it's the Panther 2, one of the most played tanks I have. So yeah, it's a really good tank. One more thing about this tank is it's the crew. Yeah, I played it so often that now I'm about to get my second stage for the talisman, and at some point I will definitely get it. Or not the talisman, the expert crew. I have a talisman on this tank, and it really helps grinding. I prefer it to all possible premium tanks for the Germans. For me, this is the tank to play for the Germans. I really love it, hands down. For the Russian tanks, at place number 5, one of the most seal-clubbing tanks, in my opinion, in the game, the T-54 1947. Of the T-54 variants, it's the most heavily armed or armored versions, and it does have a 10cm gun with APHE ammunition, with over 200 millimeters of penetration. Exactly, it's 235, if I'm not wrong. Yes, and that's all I need to rack up the kills. At place number 4, it's all the variants of the T-34 85s. They just work. You're very fast. You can one-shot stuff. You can flank. Overall maneuverability is excellent. Like the number 3, the T-34 100, which is very good. As a premium tank, it's fragile. At its battle rating, it struggles when it gets up tiered, but at the same time, the gun just works. It's a very good tank. There is nothing bad to say about. Then at place number 2 for the Russians, we have the IS-2 and the IS-2 Revenge alike, practically the same tanks. This is a very good tank. If you don't want to invest too much money for this premium tank, I can just recommend to put the talisman in the IS-2 mod 44. Just to give my input to the discussion, this tank is not overpowered. It can be quite easily killed, but you just have to take one shot to make a kill. And if you know how to play it, it's a really good tank. But it's slow, long reload time, and no gun depression. But it is a good tank, and it simply works. It can kill stuff. And at number 1, we have one of the most enjoyable tanks for the Russian tech tree, in my opinion, and that's the T-44 100. It's the latest, or the newest tank, whatever you call it, and poor gun depression, -3 degrees. That's terrible. But it's a fantastic tank. It's it's fast, nimble, and when you pull the trigger, stuff dies. Simple as that. This tank was a joy to upgrade, and it was good from the very first day. So hands down, good tank. For Britain, that's a funny story. I There are some tanks that are really bad, in my opinion, that I never could go around to make the most out of them. But at the end of the day, I have my favorites, and at place number 5, for me, it's the Tortoise. Um, the Tortoise is one of the first British tanks that has a decent reverse gear that actually, can go from side to side. The gun is, let's say, good enough. It's not excellent because, like all British tanks, it lacks the high explosive filler for its AP ammunition, but it's definitely more mobile than other ultra heavy tanks like the Mars or the T95 or the T28 or the E100. It's faster, and the armor mostly works, and the survivability is just great. It is a tank I can make work, and I like to play it. Yeah, so let's go on to place number 4. It's the Falcon AAA. And like for the German AAAs, it is quite similar to the Kugelblitz, but it seems to have a higher rate of fire. But the ammunition loadout is not as spectacular as on the Kugelblitz. But this is a good AAA, and it's good at its designated role as a AAA. It works. That's it. And it works good. Then at place number 3, we again have not just one but 2 tanks. It's the Churchills. I really like them. When I played them, it was before the nerf of, I guess, the BR increase for the Churchill Mark III, and it was nice, angling the tank and letting the gun sing. And at that BR, the gun wasn't too bad. It worked. I knew where to shoot. It just worked. I really like this tank. It's funny story, by the way. Mostly I was killed because I survived long enough. When the enemy team pushed hard, I just couldn't retreat or didn't see tanks coming from the side because flank collapsed or an enemy tank sneaked through. So it was mostly from the side, and angling the hull and angling the turret between the shots really worked. Yeah, and it's the same with the Mark 7 Churchill. Really good tank. Now even better with the additional armor Gaijin recently added to certain tanks. It makes this tank even more more good or better. Yeah, me strong English. Then at rank 2 we also again have 2 tanks because they are quite the same. It's the Carnarvon and the Centurion Mark III. I really like those tanks. At first I feared for them being bad tanks, but the Centurion Mark III and the Carnarvon, I hope I pronounced it right, they just work. They are actually pretty excellent if you look at the modifications. The standard shot is not too bad. 218 millimeters of penetration. You can kill king tigers from the front over 500 meters, and the reload rate here in my crew is 6.7 seconds. That's excellent. You can shoot the tank again before he can replace its crew, and or going for a tracking shot, and you also can retreat. those tanks are the first British tanks again, like the Tortoise, which have a decent reverse gear. You know, they have a good speed backwards, and that's important because that's what killed the Comet for me. The Comet is a very mobile tank, but it is so bad at driving backwards, like the Panthers. But it doesn't have the hull armor like a Panther, or the gun in terms of taking out its target with crippling the tank. That killed the Comet for me, like the Iron Duke. Those are good tanks, but the reverse gear just killed them. Like the Cromwell, they have bad reverse gear. But with the APDS shell, this is what makes this tank absolutely awesome. Because APDS works better against sloped armor than conventional armor piercing or solid shots, and they also spall more in the inside, so you kill tanks better or more efficient. I really like them. The combination of that awesome penetration for that battle rating here in arcade 6.7 is just great. But my all-time favorite British tank, without the shadow of a doubt, is the Chieftain Mark III. This tank is just glorious. In my opinion, when I use it in a hull down location, this tank is actually slightly overpowered, because a 120mm gun with a reload rate of 8.2 seconds and a penetration with the stock shell of 400mm and a gun depression of 10 degrees and a really strong engine, you come around, you go hull down, and the enemy has really a hard time digging you out because your turret works. And also, this tank is just awesome. After like the first 5 matches, I just decided to throw a talisman in it, and it helped me to research the Conway and the Falcon so much when those 3 tanks were introduced. This tank is really worth it. You have to go through certain tanks that are really not that good, like Archer and Sherman 5. I don't like them, at least in arcade. I don't know how people see them in realistic, but in arcade those tanks are not good. But the Chieftain on Poland, I had a game, 16 kills with talisman, 13,000 experience, and that was, I guess, after I already researched them, so a bonus was taken away. I have a screenshot of that uploaded on War Thunder Live, where you can look at it, and that's just that. This tank is it's a big rival to the 10.5 centimeter Tiger. It's that good. I really like it. And to finish off this video, I have to say, I was quite surprised that I really liked this tank, because from the first look at it, it looked to be quite similar to the Conqueror. But the Conqueror is a terrible tank, in my opinion. It has a lot of good ingredients, but for me, I can't make this tank work. Those 2 tanks are so similar but so different. I know why, but to line up those or to go through the reasons, that takes just too long for this video. So this was a look at my tanks, at my top 5 favorite tanks in the game for each nation. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know which tanks you really like. Let me know why you like them and why you maybe don't like tanks I just mentioned. And yeah, let me know if you have something to add, or if the video itself was decent enough from the quality, or if it was just too much talking or not enough talking. Yeah, just let me know. Thanks for watching. See you next time.